This is my 5th glass so far today. It's pretty good stuff, though. Prepare to be enchanted by some Wilfred Owen. Bent double like old beggars under sacks, knock-kneed, coughing like hags, we cursed through sludge, till on the haunting flares we turned our backs, and towards our distant rest began to trudge. Men marched asleep. Many had lost their boots, but limped on bloodshod. All went lame, all blind, drunk with fatigue, deaf even to the hoots of tired, outstripped 5-9s that dropped behind. Gas! Gas! Quick, boys! An ecstasy of fumbling, fitting the clumsy helmets just in time. But someone still was yelling out and stumbling and floundering like a man in fire or lime. Dim through the misty panes and thick green light, as under a green sea, I saw him drowning. In all my dreams, before my helpless sight, he plunges at me, guttering, choking, drowning. If in some smothering dreams you too could pace behind the wagon that we flung him in, and watch the white eyes writhing in his face, his hanging face like a devil sick of sin, if you could hear, at every jolt, the blood come gargling from the froth-corrupted lungs, obscene as cancer, bitter as the cud of vile, incurable sores on innocent tongues, my friend, you would not tell me, with such high zest, to children ardent for some desperate glory, the old lie, Dulce et decorum est pro patria mori. Some heavy shit. Wilfred Owen. It's kind of dashing, really. I don't know. So let's have a one-sided discussion about this. Now, the poem's called Dulce et decorum est, and that comes from the last quote in the poem, which is Dulce et decorum est pro patria mori. It's from some old Roman poem that I've never read before, but it means it is sweet and glorious to die for one's country. Now, Wilfred here refers to that as the old lie. The big thing that you need to know about World War I poetry as opposed to, I don't know, like classical epic poetry is that there's not really much glorified about this. It's gross and vile and very vivid and pretty true to what would have happened. Now, with Owen and this particular poem and that particular Latin quote, the big thing that you need to keep in mind, and one thing you should always think about if you're reading poetry, is the word it. If. That's a trigger word. You need to look out for the word if. Look. If is in squares. That means it's important. If, in some smothering dreams, if you could hear at every jolt, if all of this, if you saw what I saw, if you've experienced what I've experienced, you would not say that to people. You would not claim that it is glorious to die for your country when you see young men cut down in their prime by gas, choking on their own blood because they haven't gotten their helmet on in time. And that's kind of how World War I poetry goes. Owen never came back from the war. Of the war poets, I think the only one that I can think of that made it back from the war was Siegfried Sassoon, who actually was buddies with Wilfred Owen. They met in the hospital. But Wilfred Owen, he was a teacher in France before he was drafted. And he spent most of the war in the trenches on the front line, and he was, 86th there. Only a couple years before the war ended, too, which kind of sucks. But, I don't know. He is my favorite of the British war poets. British World War I poetry is the best fucking thing ever. It's really fucking miserable, but if you are cool with stuff like that, fucking rules. It's awesome shit. I mean, it's gross as hell and very vivid, and it makes you want to cry and sit in a warm bath and throw up and die more than you probably already want to. But good shit. I'll probably be back with some Drunken Siegfried Sassoon at some point. I'm gonna have the rest of that bottle now. Bye.